Your ads aren't getting more expensive because Meta suddenly stopped working. It's because you and every one of your competitors are trying to sell the same small group of people, the people who already know they have the problem. They already want a solution, and they're ready to do something about it now. In the framework I'm about to show you, that's roughly 3% of the market. And if all your marketing does is chase that 3%, you can end up fighting over the same ready to buy people again and again. That's why I call it the 3% trap. Now, direct response advertising is not the problem. I use it. Our clients use it. If somebody is ready to buy, you absolutely should give them a clear way to take the next step. The problem is when that's the entire strategy. Let me explain. At P4P, we use a framework called the 3-7-60 demand framework. It's inspired by Chet Holmes' buyer's pyramid, but we've adapted it into a practical way to think about creating, developing, and capturing demand. You've probably already come across this example. Imagine there are 100 people in the market. 3 are actively buying now. Another 7 are open to it. Around 60 could become buyers later, but they're not looking right now. And around 30 are simply not a priority. Now, these percentages are not some magical law of marketing. The point is the behavior. Different people are at different stages, and that means they need different messages. Start with the 3%. These are your ready now buyers. They know the problem, they're comparing options, there is enough urgency for them to do something. This is where direct response works really well. Clear problem, clear offer, relevant proof, clear next step. Here's what we do, here's who it's for. If you're ready, apply. Easy. You're probably doing this right now. The problem is trying to say the exact same thing to everyone else, because the 7% are different. They're open to solving the problem, but they're not fully there yet. They're still asking questions. Is this really the thing holding me back? Do I need an agency, a better funnel, better content, a salesperson? What exactly is broken? Why should I trust this approach? They don't necessarily need another apply now. They need help making sense of the problem. This is where content, proof, and good explanation matter. You're helping somebody move from, I know something's not right, to, okay, I understand what's actually causing this. Then you have the much larger group, the 60%. These are people who could genuinely become clients later, but they're not actively shopping right now. Maybe things aren't painful enough yet. Maybe referrals are still working. Maybe their current agency is still doing okay. Maybe they think they need more leads when what they actually need is a better offer or a sales process. Whatever the reason, they're not ready. And this is where authority content becomes really useful. You're not trying to close them. You're helping them understand the problem before the problem becomes urgent. You're showing them how you think. You're challenging bad assumptions. You're giving them useful ideas. You're becoming familiar. So that when timing does change, you're not some random stranger saying, hey, would you like to jump on a call? Because they already know who you are. And then the remaining 30%. They're simply not a priority. Don't worry about them at all. They may not have the problem, they might not have the money, or they might just be completely wrong for your business. And that is okay. Good marketing is not about convincing everyone. Sometimes the best outcome is helping the wrong person realize quickly, this isn't for me. That saves your ad spend, it saves your sales team's time, and it saves you from signing clients you don't actually want. So if we zoom out, you've really got 3 jobs. Create, develop, capture. Create interest with the people who may buy later. Develop the people who are becoming more serious. And capture the people who are ready now. And this is where people sometimes misunderstand the framework. Meta does not have a button that says, please target the 60%. Unfortunately, Zuckerberg has not made it quite that easy for us. The framework is not an audience setting trick. It's a messaging strategy. Your marketing needs different types of content that can do different jobs. For example, at P4P, a create message might say, more leads won't fix a broken client acquisition system. That gets somebody to rethink the problem. A develop message might show the case where we generated almost the same number of qualified calls, but much more tracked revenue, and explain why the whole system around those calls mattered. And a capture message might simply say, if you've already got a strong high-value offer and you want us to increase your profit without adding more ad spend, apply to work with us. Same business, same service, 3 different jobs. That's the important bit. Because right now, a lot of businesses basically have one message. Need more clients? Book a call. Then the retargeting says, still need more clients? Book a call. Then 2 days later, you appear to still need clients. Have you considered booking a call? That is not a demand strategy. That's just repeating yourself. So look at your own marketing. How much of it is designed purely to get someone to buy now? How much helps the right people understand the problem better, then proves your way of solving it? And how much actually builds trust before the call? You don't need an exact 3%, 7%, and 60% split in your campaigns. That's not the point. The point is to stop relying entirely on a fresh supply of ready-to-buy strangers every month. Capture the people who are ready, develop the people who are getting closer, and build tomorrow's buyers from the people who could genuinely become clients later. And stop spending money trying to convince people who are never right for you in the first place. That is the 3% trap. At P4P, that demand strategy sits inside our bigger client acquisition machine. If you're an established coach or consultant or expert-led business and your acquisition costs keep rising, use the link below to apply to work with us. We'll look at the bigger picture, and if it looks like there's a genuine fit, we'll invite you to the next step.